straight from the sucker that he wanted to move.
What's good, everybody? What's good? It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, or ES Red, if that's what you want to call me. And we are back for another one. Alright, y'all. We talking new topics. Why Terence Crawford is being blamed for lowballing for the Spence fight. Alright, y'all. So I saw a video earlier. I'm not even gonna sit up here and lie. Like, you know, I see titles of certain videos and it sparks my interest. It gets my brain churning, and then I want to make a video about it. I don't even watch these dudes' videos because they be talking so much nonsense. I don't want to pollute my brain with the garbage that they be talking. So sometimes I do watch certain videos. If I know, okay, there's some good information in there, I'm gonna watch this video, I'm gonna check it out. 9 times out of 10, I don't even waste my time. But I saw this dude's title, and he was referring to people blaming Terence Crawford for the fight not coming to fruition yet. And I guess he was trying to make it seem like Terence Crawford shouldn't be blamed for why the fight hasn't happened, and he shouldn't be blamed because he's being lowballed. It's crazy in the sport of boxing, you know, after what the past generations had to go through to get the new generations to where they're at, you still have guys complaining about money. These dudes is making so much money. Half these dudes is making money in their sleep. They're not even in the boxing ring. They commercial and make millions of dollars off of that. They endorse a product, smile at a camera, and get $1 million for that. But when you ask them to get in the ring and do their job, you tell them, well, I can only pay you a certain amount because of the times that we're in. It has nothing to do with, you know, lowballing or you're not worth this, that, and the third. Even though there are a million arguments that could be made of why Terence Crawford isn't worth the same amount that Errol Spence is worth. But then you have the detractors that are going to come right back and say, well, you paid you paid Shawn Porter this, you paid Danny Garcia that, your Danish guys got this, knowing fully well that those fights are not worth what the Spence Crawford fight is worth. And then you have the people that'll say, well, if this fight is worth more, he deserves to be paid more. It's not true. Not on his accord. And there's one simple reason. That is challenging yourself. Spence Jr. chose to do the difficult thing. He chose to go out and fight a bunch of champions in pursuit of title belts because he knew, if I get these belts, I have all the leverage. You know, in this new age where people think fame equals dollars, in some situations it does, but in the boxing ring, in the actual boxing world, in the boxing space, titles equal dollars, and you actually have to challenge yourself to go get those titles. At no point as a welterweight has Terence Crawford challenged himself. Basically got handed a title belt through the Jeff Horn fight. We all know Jeff Horn was nowhere near on the talent level of Terence Crawford. But then you have that guys effect because people believe that Jeff Horn, because he beat Manny Pacquiao, but we all know that there was a lot of shadiness in that fight. Because Horn beat Pacquiao, that makes Crawford that much better because Crawford beat Horn. That's not challenging yourself, you know, because one guy beat a superstar fighter in a fight that he never should have had his hand raised in. That doesn't turn around and then make the guy who beats him better than the superstar fighter. It just don't work like that. But this is the new era we're living in. These dudes out here, these young people out here truly believe that work smarter, not harder. You know, and that's a Floyd Mayweather term, is work smarter, not harder. But what they've equated that to is do less and get more. Unfortunately for Terence Crawford, that mentality is why he's in the position he's in, because he has done less, but he wants more. You beat one welterweight champion. You've beat one welterweight champion. Errol Spence had to go through 3 welterweight champions to get to the point where he can command 10, 15, 20 million dollars a fight. He had to actually go out there and show and prove, and for him to get to the point where he can put 100,000 people in the Cowboy Stadium. Terence Crawford thinks, well, I've done all this stuff as a junior welterweight, and at 130, you know, I deserve my position. You know, my position should be solidified. Well, this is the sport of boxing. This is the sport where you have to continuously prove yourself. In sports, you're only as good as your last performance. As soon as your performance starts to fall off, you're no longer the person you once were, you know. And with that being said, you know, based off of Terence Crawford's last performance, a Shawn Porter fight, he shouldn't even been in the ring. You know, a Shawn Porter he shouldn't even been in the ring with, because Porter had been laid off for 2 years. People want to make it seem like Terence Crawford beat the champion version of Shawn Porter. No, Errol Spence beat the champion version of Shawn Porter, and the champion version of Kell Brook, and the champion version of Ordanius Ugas. He deserves what he is getting because he did the work. Terence Crawford deserves what he's getting because he didn't do the work. And he, you know, it's not like they're lowballing him. It's that they can't justify paying him these exorbitant amounts of money for no reason. Just because you did something 5 years ago doesn't mean you're gonna do it 5 years later. It just don't work like that. Just because you were paid something 2 or 3 years ago don't mean you deserve it today when you have done nothing to prove that you deserve it. You know, it's not that they're lowballing him, it's that his value, he never took the time to raise the bar of his value. So I don't find it unfair for Terence Crawford to only be getting $10 million for 2 fights. I do think that's a little low for the caliber of fight that we're talking about. But even at $15 million, he would still be complaining that that was a low ball offer, or that they're lowballing him, or they're somehow taking it out on him. Listen, Terence Crawford could have very easily stayed with Bob Arum and allowed for him to deal with the back end, the politics of boxing, and he could have just been the boxer. But he chose to walk away from the man who made him a millionaire. And not only did he choose to walk away from that, he chose to degrade him, sue him, and drag his name through the mud. Now, how you think people who heard what Bobby Arum had to say about Terence Crawford and then watch what he did to his former employer, and you think those people still want to deal with Terence Crawford? And here's another point. You know, Manny Pacquiao got screwed over by Bob Arum too, but Manny Pacquiao is such a likable, understanding, you know, just all around loving person that he never drug Bob Arum's name through the mud. As much as he deserves to drag Bob Arum, he still didn't drag Bob Arum. He just let it go. He played it like it was business, because that's what it is. So I think people don't want to deal with Terence Crawford because he's a bad businessman, basically. So he can't be mad that real businessmen treat him like he's a bad businessman. And he can't be upset that Errol Spence did all the work and is going to reap all the rewards of that first fight. Now, if he beats Errol Spence, then he's going to, on the second fight, reap all the rewards. But you have to take some chances, because you haven't taken chances with your career. At some point, you're going to have to take chances. It just is what it is. Hit that like button for me. Share. Subscribe. Tell a friend. Holler at me on all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You're more than likely to get a response on the tube. So holler at me over there if you want a response. It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, or E.S. Red, if that's what you want to call me. And we are...
Turn the dream into reality with a fuck you mentality.